A wise man once said, "Hey, stop collecting video games." And a wiser man once replied, fuck no. I am not wise, but I have said that second thing. I have said fuck no before. It is February 28th today, which means February's over. Short month, I know. But that also means I get to do another pickup video to show you guys some stuff that I collected as far as video games are concerned. Before I get this started proper, I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to so many of my friends. You will be named individually so that you have to watch the video to find where I mention you. I'm that clever. This month was my birthday month. I was born on February 9th, 1992, which makes me 26 and happy about it. Anyway, because of that, a lot of my friends decided to be very nice to me, and I got quite a few things added to my collection. Not to mention, some people were just nice out of the kindness of their hearts, regardless of my birthday, and added things to my collection too. I spent very little money this month and got so many things. It's not often that that happens, so everyone's getting thanks. Literally, well, not literally, definitely figuratively. I have so many thanks to give, and there's not enough time in the world for me to express how thankful I am. But I'm going to try. Let's get started. So this is just something small, but my friend Dan was just going to get rid of a whole bunch of video game stuff that he had, and he was like, it's either going to go in the garbage or it's going to go to you. So which would you prefer? And I said, throw it in my car. So this is one of the things that he gave me most of the things that I got this month, to be honest. So this is an Xbox 360 hard drive transfer cable in the box. I will get rid of the sticker residue eventually. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but everything's in there, and I'm glad that it came with the box. I really don't collect too much for Xbox or 360. I was never really a big Microsoft console fan. I don't feel like they do it very well, but a lot of people are, and I can't be the only one who's right. They've got to be right too. Everyone has their own opinions as far as video gaming is concerned. And my preferences and their preferences don't have to match, so maybe they do get a lot of fun out of it. Who knows? I personally don't get a lot of fun out of it, but that doesn't mean I think it's not important, because it definitely is. So I'm glad that I picked this up. Thank you so much, Dan. You're going to get a lot of thank yous. Okay, here's something I actually bought myself. Okay, let's just get that out of the way right now. It's a game that I needed for my NES. It's Air Fortress. This game was made by HAL Laboratory, same people who made Kirby, Super Smash Bros., and Rollerball. That game I'm not a big fan of. But check it out. It's Air Fortress. Now, I used to have a Famiclone before I became a collector, on which I would play NES games that my father bought for me from this place in Lindenhurst on Long Island called Game Crazy. And this is one of the games that I bought. It's kind of an action platformer with pseudo-puzzle elements. It's a little bit maze-like, but it's really fun, and it also has space shooter elements. So it's a lot of things kind of thrown into one, but it's super cool, and I recommend it. And I picked this up while I was in Manhattan with a couple of friends. We went out for an adventure in the city, but I'm not going to tell any of you guys what store in Manhattan I got this from, because I kind of don't want any of you to go there. I will tell you this, it wasn't Video Games New York, because I love that place. This other place, their prices were just way too high. I spent way too much money on this, but I just wanted to buy it because I was having a bad time mentally. I didn't have a bad day, but that week for me was bad mentally, and I needed something to cheer me up, just something I could bring home and put on the shelf. And I decided to spend double what this game usually costs to bring it home. That's how much I care about my happiness. So please don't shop at the place that I'm not going to tell you the name of, so that you can know not to shop there. I know that that seems a little counterintuitive. If I don't tell you the name, how can you know not to shop there? Well, if I tell you the name, you're more likely to search it and find it and think about it and actually go there. So if I don't tell you, maybe you won't. let's turn our attention to Dan again, the man of the hour. He gave me the limited collector's edition box for Halo 2 for Xbox, and I'm really happy about that because honestly, it's kind of cool. It's like, I mean, it's plastic, but it's also metallic and scratchy, and it's all ASMR-like. And this is not going to turn into an ASMR video, but it is just the box. There's no disc. I already own Halo 2, so really no need for a disc. But then he also gave me the I don't really, again, I'm not really that big of a collector of Xbox 360 stuff, so I don't really know too much about this, but it looks to be a Halo 3 limited edition box as well. The back says, introducing the Halo 3 limited edition in a unique metal case, the perfect addition to your collection. In this third installment of the epic Halo trilogy, the war is reaching its climax, and Master Chief's mission is to stop the Covenant, protect the planet, and ultimately save mankind. Now, I like Halo, and I have played a bunch of Halo games before, and I own quite a few. But I don't really know too much about variants as far as Halo is concerned, because, again, I don't really collect for the Microsoft consoles. But I mean, I do, but I don't actively, I guess. If stuff comes my way, I'll take it, but I won't really go out of my way to look. So I guess this is just a metallic case for Halo 3, and it has some extra stuff in there because it's super wide. To be honest, I haven't opened it and really looked inside, but I am still thankful that I own it, because no matter what it is, it's a piece of video game history. Thank you, Dan. As I said, for my birthday, a couple of my friends were kind enough to get me some nice things, and one of those people was my friend Melanie, who is a little bit of a purist, I guess, and I am too, to be fair. I totally am. But she noticed that a couple of videos ago, I mentioned going to the convention in Connecticut that I frequent every year, Retro World Expo, and I bought Final Fantasy VII there. And you guys should remember that because I made a video with it in that pickup. But she noticed that it was a greatest hits label, and I didn't really care. I only really collect variants if they come my way. I don't actively seek them, except for certain consoles. But she was like, nope, gotta fix that. So she got me the normal, standard variant of Final Fantasy VII, also known as the Black Label. So now I own 2 copies of the game, and they actually are inherently different. The discs for Final Fantasy VII, the Black Label, are opaque white, and the discs for the Greatest Hits version are just reflective, standard CD. There's no paint on them. So you can actually tell the difference with the discs as well. So I'm happy to own both copies, obviously, and when I finally get around to blasting all the way through Final Fantasy VII, which, I'm going to be honest, I've never actually beaten the game. I've gotten very close a long time ago with friends, because again, I never owned it growing up. When I finally get around to playing it on my own and blasting through it and finally beating it, it'll be on this version. Thank you, Melanie. Dan, you have done me such a service. I'm very happy. So I own 2 Game Boy Advance SPs, or, well, I owned 2 before, so now you can kind of see where this is going. I owned 1 Platinum and 1 Cobalt version, which I use the official names because I'm that much of a purist, but Platinum is silver and Cobalt is purple, basically. Unfortunately, a long time ago, the Cobalt one, the L and R buttons stopped functioning, and there is a very annoying stuck pixel on the Platinum one in the screen. And it doesn't affect gameplay, but it just annoys me because I'm an asshat like that. But Dan was nice enough. Again, he was getting rid of a bunch of video game stuff, and he got rid of and gave to me the Onyx, also known as Black, Game Boy Advance SP, which has neither of those issues. So now I have one that I can play on without being annoyed. It also came sporting a full charge, which I don't think he anticipated, but I was able to play it right away. I blasted through Tetris Attack that evening, and I'm really happy about that. So yeah, always great to get console variants, even if I already own the original. And you know what? That might be a theme of this month's pickups. Along with the Game Boy Advance SP came 4 games none of which are Game Boy Advance games, but all of which are capable of being played on it. So I got Quest for Camelot on Game Boy Color, which my sister, when she was into video games for 5 minutes, actually owned. And I guess it came into my possession when she stopped caring about video games. But then it mysteriously vanished, and I don't know what happened to it. So I'm glad to have it again after all these years. I also got probably one of the best games on original Game Boy, Donkey Kong 94, which collectors refer to as 94 to distinguish it from the arcade title Donkey Kong. If you haven't played Donkey Kong 94, I urge you, please do. It is fantastic. It is a puzzle platformer, and it bears striking resemblance to the arcade title Donkey Kong, but it is very, very different. And if any of you are familiar with the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, this is actually the first game in that series. It's super fun. I love it so much. And in case you are curious, it is available for the Virtual Console on Nintendo 3DS. So you can always get it there, and it'll be a lot cheaper than this copy. We also have Superman for Game Boy, which I've never played, so this will be a fun treat. Superman games aren't always good, but they're also not always bad. There's really only one fucking terrible one that I can think of right now. You know which one. But this one seems to be hit or miss among the collecting public. I have never played this game. I don't recall ever seeing any footage of it, so I get to try this out without being soiled. And then, of course, why do I always do that with Game Boy games? Tom and Jerry, which, okay, I love this game. Growing up, I used to play Tom and Jerry on NES at my Aunt Catherine's because she had an NES and a copy of the game, and I loved it. This is not the same game, but playing this gave me so much nostalgia for having grown up playing the NES version. I love this game. This is going to be one of my favorites going forward. I love it so much. It's just a typical platformer. It can be a little unfair at times, but once you get used to the game's crap factor a little bit, you kind of adjust to it and start to expect things, so it becomes less hard and more predictable. I really like it. And again, all 4 of these wonderful games were given to me with the black Game Boy Advance SP by my buddy Dan. Thank you so much. Birthdays come, birthdays go. This birthday, like I said, I got a lot of stuff, man. My friend Peyton, just like Melanie bought me a game for PlayStation, Peyton also bought me a game for PlayStation, and it was a game I mentioned just out of conversation that I didn't own. And so she decided, well, that's the one he's going to get. It is the greatest hits version of Spyro the Dragon. Normally I wouldn't mention that it's the greatest hits version because I don't usually care, but because I know Melanie might be watching, I acknowledge this is a green label. So, Spyro the Dragon! I love Spyro! But I never owned the first one, and now I do. That's one of the greatest things about being a collector, is now I have this huge list of stuff that growing up I couldn't play because nobody bought it for me. They didn't have the money, I was young, so I didn't have the money. But now, by some black sorcery, I get to experience games that I didn't get a chance to as a kid, and in very, very many cases, I get to own those games. Thank you so much, Peyton. This is also kind of cool. I don't know too much about it again, but I assume that it is, for better or for worse, something that people think is nice, because otherwise, why would it exist, I guess? But this is the Halo 3 Xbox 360 external hard drive. Dan gave this to me along with the giant lot of stuff that Dan gave to me. So, again, I don't have much to say about it, but I'm not using it because I want to display it, because I think it's actually pretty cool. But yeah, there's really not much I can say. But thank you so much again, Dan. Everyone just wanted to give me things. I'm really happy about it. Alright, so here's 2 more things Dan got for me, because, geez. So, here we have the Xbox 360 Halo 3 Special Edition box. It's in kind of rough shape, but for the most part, it holds its form. He did not give me the Halo 3 Special Edition Xbox 360 with the box, but I am still glad that I own the box. I own a lot of boxes for which I don't own the game, so this makes no difference to me, and I'm really happy I have it. Not only that, but he did give me the console along with the box, the Xbox 360 Elite. Now, as far as the console is concerned, I no longer have it in my possession. And the reason why is because, well, I already owned one. So when I typically get doubles, I will do one of two things. Either I will give them to someone who I know is looking for it, usually for free, because I really don't care, unless I paid a hefty sum for it, which in that case I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway, because why would I pay so much for doubles? Or I will just sell it. In this case, I actually ended up giving it to my buddy Joe, who gave me something that I wanted in return. He decided to set up a trade, and I thought that was very nice of him, so I'll grab that next. Oh, and thanks, Dan. There it is, the Silver GameCube, which I believe is officially called Platinum Silver. And he did throw in the Platinum Silver controller and all the hookups. Growing up, I only ever had the regular Indigo GameCube, so this is officially my second model of GameCube that I've ever owned, and I've owned a GameCube since, I believe, 2003 is when I got mine. So I finally got a color variant for the GameCube after all these years. But yeah, it's in perfect working order. I quickly swapped it out so that this is the main one on my shelf, and I put the original Indigo one up on display, which you can't see because it's off camera, and I have strange burpees right now. But yeah, I quickly switched it out. I had Mario Party 6 in the other one, so I just put it in here. Thank you so much, Joe, for the trade. You really didn't have to do that, but I'm glad you offered because I'm very happy. Thank you so much. Alright, more things from Dan. Well, just one thing right now. Street Fighter Alpha 3 for PlayStation, the Greatest Hits Edition. Now, when Dan gave this game to me, he gave it to me like this. And usually if someone wants to offer me a game in this condition, with no cover art or manual, I will usually decline the opportunity. But considering it was basically a gift, I said yes, and I was just going to print out the cover art and slip it in there until I eventually got a replacement. But I was casually browsing online on eBay for just some deals to see what was cheap that I could pick up. And just out of curiosity, I typed in Street Fighter Alpha 3 manual, and it was actually really, really cheap to get the manual. So I just bought the manual, and now I have it complete. Because this is actually the correct case. Dan just couldn't find the manual. That's okay. I'm still glad I have the game. And now I have the manual to go with it. So Dan, with your help, I now have a complete copy of Street Fighter Alpha 3. Thank you so much. Possibly one of the best pickups. I wasn't expecting this at all. But my friend Peyton, again, had an extra copy of this game. And she wasn't interested in getting rid of it per se, but she also didn't have anywhere to put it and didn't need it because, again, extra copy. So just like I usually do and give away doubles to people in need, she decided to do the same and gave me a complete copy of Shenmue for Sega Dreamcast, which is a hard to find, kind of uncommon game for Dreamcast, at least now it is among collectors. It wasn't back in the day. But it's complete. All the discs are in there, including including the Shenmue Passport, which sometimes you don't actually find with copies of Shenmue. For whatever reason, some people just don't keep them with the game. What is wrong with some of you people, you monsters? But I am super happy. This is probably one of the best pickups that I have gotten in a while, especially for the price, because it was free. It was a gift from my friend Peyton. I am really thankful for this. I'm super happy about it. Thank you so much. Alright, one last thing in the console vein. I remember I foreshadowed earlier that I got a lot of, well, not a lot of, but it was a theme that I collected a few console variants this month. So there was the Game Boy Advance SP variant that I got the Onyx one, then I got the Platinum Silver GameCube, and wouldn't you know it, Dan was getting rid of and decided to give me the Silver PlayStation 2 Slim, complete with silver controller. I don't know how I got so lucky this month, but it's not a gold mine, obviously. I mean, it's silver. no, you know what I mean. It's not the rarest thing in the world, but it means a lot to me to get a console variant, especially one that's as pristine as this. It's in such good condition. It looks amazing. The PS2 logo rotates just fine, which if you didn't know, this PlayStation logo actually rotates 90 degrees to fit the orientation that you set at the console. So I can't seem to do it when I'm not looking directly at it, but there it is, face up. And if I turn it the proper orientation that I usually keep it, which is horizontal, I can flip it so that it's in the correct orientation there. A lot of people don't know you can do that. You can do it on a regular Fat Boy PS2 also. So I quickly swapped this one out with the one I keep on my shelf, so now I play on this one, and I keep the black original PS2 Slim up on the shelf with my Indigo GameCube. This was something I was very happy to get, and when I noticed it in that big lot of things that Dan gave me, my heart kind of skipped a beat. And I'm very honest when I get games from people. If they ask me what things are worth, I will be honest with them, but I'll tell them what I'm willing to pay because they're not a retail store. And Dan was like, yeah, like, is this stuff worth anything to you? And one of the things I first said was, to be honest, I'm really, really happy that I have finally found a silver PS2 Slim. I've been looking for one for a while, not super actively, but and so it would always be nice to find one. And he said, oh yeah, man, it's no sweat, take it. It can't be worth that much. And I said, well, it's worth a decent sum. And he's like, well, I'm just gonna get rid of it, so just take it. Dan, you are a legend among legends. Thank you so much for my silver PlayStation 2 Slim. And here we go. We have reached the bottom of the barrel as far as all of this stuff. This is the last bunch of stuff that Dan gave to me in that big lot of stuff he was just going to throw out. What a guy. This is actually quite a lot. It is mostly Xbox 360 stuff, a couple of regular Xbox games, and one PS2 game. But I'm going to go through them pretty quickly, so bear with me. Here we go. I got Halo Reach, Halo 4, very happy to own that. Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, complete with the cardboard overlay box. Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. Gears of War Judgment, also happy to own that. Gears of War 3. Gears of War 1. And these are in no particular order. Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3 Limited Edition, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and Assassin's Creed 3. Super happy to own those. The regular Xbox, Counter-Strike, the original, but this is the Platinum Hits version, still super happy to own it, and the Platinum Hits version of Burnout 3 Takedown, which I've never played a Burnout game, but I've heard good things. They're pretty fun, right? Yeah, if you'll notice while I'm flipping through these, some of them do have some sticker residue left on them. There were so many games all at once that came into my collection at one time that I didn't really sit down and pick away at the stickers yet, but I will. Don't worry, I'm mad for you. For PlayStation 2, Conflict Desert Storm 2, Back to Baghdad. Never played this game. Don't really know much about it. Not really big into combat games, but we'll see. Saints Row the Third, which is the sequel to Saints Row 2, both for 360. Rock Band 2. Payday 2. The Orange Box. Super happy to own this. I never owned it. I do have Portal on PC. I never owned any of the Half-Life games or Team Fortress 2, but now I've got them all, including Portal, which is a game I absolutely love, in case you are curious at all. So, oh my god, this was probably another great pickup from Dan, and I was super happy that he gave this to me. So, this one, Dan actually gave to me just the disc, and again, similar to Street Fighter Alpha 3, I normally wouldn't have accepted it, but because it was totally free, I just wanted to take it off his hands, so I made a makeshift case until I get one. So it's Mirror's Edge. I just printed out the art. It sits pretty nicely, although it looks a little weird on my shelf. But I will eventually get the manual and a proper case for it. It shouldn't be too expensive. I just haven't done it yet. We have Medal of Honor Limited Edition, Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes, which I've heard great things about, so I'm excited to try it out, and Hunted, the Demon's Forge. I know nothing about this game. I didn't bother looking it up yet, but I assume it's nice. Then we have a whole slew, excuse me, of different titles, one of them being Battlefield Hardline, and then all of the rest of these, except for Bulletstorm Epic Edition, these are all Call of Duty titles. I'm not the biggest fan of Call of Duty, but I know how important it is in video game history and how ubiquitous it is among video games from the modern era in general, so I'm happy to accept them and I'm happy to own them. So here is all the Call of Duty games Dan gave me, one at a time. Call of Duty World at War. Oops. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Call of Duty Ghosts. Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Day 0 Edition. And the last game of February, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Jesus Christ, what a pickup! I am beyond words at some of the generosity that I experienced this month. Again, I only really spent money twice on myself. I bought the manual for Street Fighter Alpha 3, and I bought myself a copy of Air Fortress. But every single other thing was given to me or traded to me by a generous soul. So I want to give great shout outs and thanks to the 4 people who really showed me that they seem to care about me in some capacity. My buddy Dan, my buddy Melanie, my buddy Joe, and my buddy Peyton. You are all fantastic. Thank you for adding to my collection, putting fuel into my fire, and making me extremely happy with something that I do all the time, helping me with my hobby. It means the world to me. You have no idea. So that's it for February. I'm going to be back in March, I hope. Unless I get hit by a desert bus. But that's only if my dreams really come true the way I want them to. Oh, and this isn't really a game pickup, but I got a roll of stickers from Joe that say for rectal use only. So if you're really naughty, maybe I'll prank you. Have a good March!